It's December 1944. You're 19 years old, freezing your balls off in a foxhole in Belgium, wearing a summer jacket because the army lost your winter stuff. You're thinking, man, war's basically over. I'm gonna be home eating mom's pumpkin pie by New Year's. Then, 5:30 in the morning, the forest literally explodes. 1,000 German guns light up the sky, tanks come roaring out of the fog, and 500,000 Nazis, who everyone thought were finished, decide to throw one last middle finger at the entire free world. This is the Battle of the Bulge, the biggest, bloodiest, most batshit crazy fight American soldiers from the United States ever faced. And bro, it almost worked. Smash play. Let's go. Fall 1944 was straight vibes for the Allies. D-Day worked, Paris got liberated, Patton's tearing across France like it's a Sunday drive, and the newspapers back home are already printing home by Christmas headlines. The Ardennes forest, this giant, snowy, creepy chunk of Belgium and Luxembourg, becomes the quiet sector. The brass parks 4 battered American divisions there to rest and trains brand new replacements. One GI wrote home, "It's so quiet, we're playing football against each other." Intelligence officers keep saying, "Germans are done. They got no gas, no planes, no reserves." Yeah, about that. While the Allies are popping champagne, Adolf Hitler is in his bunker doing the exact opposite of coping. He's lost half of Europe, the Red Army is 40 miles from Berlin, and he's railing harder than ever on pills. September 16th, 1944, he calls his generals in and drops the wildest plan of the entire war, Operation Wacht am Rhein. He wants to repeat 1940, blast through the Ardennes again, race 75 miles to the port of Antwerp, cut the Allies in half, surround 4 whole armies, and force America and Britain to the negotiating table. His generals literally tell him, "Mein Führer, we have 12 gallons of fuel per tank. Half our guys are 16 or 60 years old, and the Luftwaffe is a meme at this point." Hitler just screams, "Then we take the American fuel. We will win because we must win." He scrapes together 410,000 men, almost 2,000 tanks and assault guns, and every last drop of gasoline in the Reich. It's the biggest German offensive of the Western Front. All in, do or die. 5:30 a.m., December 16th. Temperature -10. Fog so thick you can't see 10 feet. 1,000 German guns open up at the same second. American GIs get blown out of warm bunks into waist-deep snow. Then, the Panzers roll. 6th SS Panzer Army up north with the worst of the worst. 5th Panzer in the center, 7th Panzer trying to cover the south. First 48 hours are pure horror. 2 regiments of the 106th Golden Lions, 7,000 kids who landed in Europe literally 9 days earlier, get surrounded on a ridge called Schneeeifel and have to stack arms. Biggest American surrender of the war in Europe. Meanwhile, a psycho named SS Lieutenant Colonel Jochen Piper is leading a spearhead called Kampfgruppe Piper. These dudes are wearing captured American uniforms, speaking English, and straight up murdering anything that moves. At Baugny's crossroads near Malmedy, they capture 120 American artillerymen, herd them into a frozen field, and open up with machine guns. 84 GIs murdered in cold blood. When the news hits the front lines, every American suddenly has a take no prisoners attitude toward anyone wearing field gray. If the Germans are going to reach the Meuse River, they need the roads north of Bastogne, especially around Elsenborn Ridge and the town of St. Vith. The guys holding Elsenborn, outnumbered 5, sometimes 10 to 1. They're low on ammo, eating frozen K-rations, feet turning black from frostbite. But they dig in on that ridge and say, "Come get it."
German tanks roll up. American 57mm guns fire over open sights at 200 yards. Cooks, clerks, and band members grab rifles and fight. They hold for 5 critical days. 20 miles east, the tiny hub of St. Vith turns into an absolute meat grinder. A thrown-together force of engineers, tank destroyers, and remnants of the 7th Armored holds off 2 Panzer Corps for almost a week. Every hour they delay screws Hitler's timetable worse. The German plan only works on speed, and speed just died in the snow.
Now we get to the part every history nerd creams over: Bastogne. 7 roads meet in this little Belgian town. Lose it, and the whole German southern wing collapses. December 18th, 19th, the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles, get emergency trucked in from France. Most of them are still wearing summer OD uniforms because their baggage train got lost. One paratrooper said, "We looked like a bunch of homeless guys going to a football game in October." By December 20th, the town is completely cut off. Germans have them in a pocket 15 miles around. December 22nd, 4 German officers walk up under a white flag with an ultimatum: surrender or be annihilated. Acting Commander Brig Gen Anthony McAuliffe is woken up from a nap. He reads it, yawns, and says the most American thing ever: "Aw, nuts." His staff convinces him to write a reply. He scribbles 1 word on the paper and sends it back: nuts. The German major is confused. What does this mean? American officer shrugs. It means go to hell. Instantly, the most badass radio message of the war.
Meanwhile, 100 miles south, George S. Blood and Guts Patton is losing his mind wanting to get into the fight. December 19th, he storms into a planning meeting, slaps the map, and says, "We're going to turn 3rd Army 90 degrees north, drive through this blizzard, and relieve Bastogne by Christmas. Any questions?" His staff almost has a heart attack. Moving 250,000 men and 50,000 vehicles in winter is supposed to be impossible. Patton just grins and tells his chaplain, "I want a prayer for good weather so we can kill these krauts." The chaplain writes one. Patton has 250,000 copies printed and drops them to every soldier. Actual line: "Grant us fair weather for battle." 3 days later, the sky is clear. Coincidence? Patton didn't think so. December 23-24, the clouds finally part. Allied Jabos, P-47 Thunderbolts, British Typhoons, medium bombers take off by the thousands. They catch the Germans bunched up on open roads with no air cover. One day, Christmas Eve, the Allies fly almost 6,000 sorties and turn entire panzer columns into flaming scrap metal. German fuel trucks explode like fireworks. One pilot radioed, "It's a turkey shoot, except the turkeys have tigers." Same morning, the Luftwaffe tries one last big raid, Operation Bodenplatte, and loses 300 planes in a single day. After that, the German air power is officially a rounding error. December 26th. Patton's 4th Armored Division, spearheaded by Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams, yes, the Abrams tank guy, punches through the German ring at 4:30 p.m. First tank into Bastogne has "War Daddy" painted on the barrel. The siege is over. McAuliffe walks out in the snow, shakes hands with the tankers, and deadpans, "We've been waiting for you, gentlemen. Took you long enough." From that point on, it's all counterattack. Montgomery straightens the northern shoulder, Patton chews up the southern flank, and by the end of January 1945, the front line is exactly where it was on December 15th. The Bulge is erased. 19,000 Americans dead. More than Iwo Jima, more than Okinawa. the single bloodiest battle for the US in the entire war. Total casualties around 90,000 when you count wounded, missing, frostbite, trench foot. Germans lose roughly the same in men, plus 800 tanks and almost all their remaining air force. They literally can't replace any of it. 6 months later, Hitler's in a bunker eating a pistol. But the real story isn't the numbers. It's 19-year-old kids from Brooklyn, Alabama, and Iowa, standing in frozen foxholes with iced-over M1 rifles, looking at king tigers rolling toward them and saying, "You're not passing here." It's black soldiers of the 333rd Field Artillery getting captured and murdered at WWII, Belgium, a massacre most people still don't know about. It's medics dragging wounded through waist-deep snow under fire because leaving a man behind wasn't an option. It's the greatest generation earning that name the hard way. So next time somebody says World War II was decided on D-Day or at Normandy beaches, tell them, nah, fam. It was decided in the frozen hell of the Ardennes when a bunch of half-starved, frostbitten American kids looked the last gasp of the Third Reich in the eye and answered with one word: nuts. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what will. Drop a like if this story wrecked you. Comment your favorite moment, Malmedy, Bastogne, Patton's prayer, whatever. And subscribe right now because next week we're hitting something even crazier. Until then, stay warm, stay free, and I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.